Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our spoiler-filled discussion for Jurassic World Rebirth. These dinosaurs were too dangerous for the original park. The worst of the worst were left here. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. My name is Nate, and this is our spoiler-filled discussion for Jurassic World Rebirth. If you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, games, and all things Geekcentric. Now, when it comes to discussing the latest Jurassic movie in full spoilers, since seeing it the other night, I've been so obsessed with whether I could. I never stopped to think if I should. But to help me here with that conundrum is my dude, Darcy, the dinosaur DNA harvesting Hudson. How's it going, dude?
I'm good. I'm wondering why we need another Jurassic World film at this point, but I guess we'll get into that as we go.
Yeah, you're like, Universal should wonder if they should, right?
Did they really need to? That's where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah. But the money, Darcy, the money. It's always about the money until you get eaten by a big old dinosaur. We're back. This is, another wonderful, chance to see dinosaurs on the big screen. It's been 3 years since Dominion, which is a movie that I haven't seen. You saw Dominion?
Yes, I did, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't have high hopes for another Jurassic World, is because they seem to just keep going on a downward trend. But this one, had me hopeful, at least from the trailers.
Yeah. We'll get further into it. It's been 32 years since the first Jurassic Park made its roaring debut into theaters. Darcy, what's your Jurassic journey look like? Obviously you haven't really been enjoying your time in the world of Jurassic, but the parks, I mean, you must have had a pretty fond memory of the park.
I love the first two movies. The third Jurassic Park is kind of where that loses the original charm in that first trilogy, but the first Jurassic Park I remember watching probably at least 3 or 4 times over grade 9. That was my geography teacher's go-to movie when we finished a class a bit early. We had 50 minutes left.
Hell yeah.
She'd throw in Jurassic Park. So we watched that in increments multiple times over that one semester. So I have a really close connection to that first movie for that reason, because it was a really fun way to partake of it, if you will. So outside of that, though, I get it. The first trilogy is a lot of fun and is where the magic really lives. And I feel like World is trying to capture this magic. And every time they try to, they just kind of drop the ball even more.
Yeah. It's tricky, right? Because I think, obviously that first one is so beloved, and the Steven Spielberg of it all, and the Amblin elements, and obviously John Williams, and there's so much magic there, and I think that's really tough for a lot of folks, kind of, coming from those original films into a movie like this. I've always been a huge fan of dinosaurs. And then so seeing Jurassic Park when I was younger was mind-boggling. It was so cool. And then you had, like movies like Disney's Dinosaur, right? And then the experiences at the theme parks, whether that be the dinosaur ride at Disney or the, Animal Kingdom or the Universal Studios experiences with Jurassic Park and now Jurassic World. Like, to me, I it's unfortunate that the movies, the quality of these films hasn't been able to even kind of get close to the first two, even for the first Jurassic World, which I know a lot of people do really actually kind of dig.
It had a chance of recapturing that magic, and it felt like they were almost getting there, and then it went off the deep end.
I still, at least I will say though, like as a fan of dinosaurs, I still enjoy getting to see dinosaurs up on the movie screen, whether it's, a good movie or a bad one.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And again, the one thing that Jurassic Park has done well, or Jurassic World, is just doing really good dinosaurs. They always look really cool, and they fit in the world, and they never seem out of place or fake looking at all. Unless you're
Yeah.
talking about the mutants, but we're not getting to that right now.
Oh yeah. We'll get into those mutants. We are going full spoilers for this discussion. So we wanted to bring you our spoiler free thoughts, but listen, Canada Day weekend here. Us Canadian geeks, we're Canadian geeks, okay, at the end of the day. So Universal, when you put your movies out over the same weekend, it makes it tricky for us to get together and see it. But Darcy and I made our way to the theaters, and so did Megan and Justin. They aren't able to be a part of this conversation, but I do have some thoughts that Megan was able to share with me that I'll reference, just because she loves Jonathan Bailey, and I gotta bring that up because she's a bit obsessed with him. But she enjoyed elements of this movie even beyond him. But again, we are going full spoilers, so if you did not see the movie, go see it now and then come back racing here faster than a herd of Gallimimus running from a T-Rex. Do you think it's Gallimimus or Gallimimuses? Is it like a
Gallimimus would be
geese thing?
it's already it sounds already plural, or maybe Gallimami, like
Moose? Meese?
moose.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Darcy, Zora Bennett leads a team of skilled operatives to the most dangerous place on Earth, an island research facility for the original Jurassic Park. Their mission is to secure genetic material from dinosaurs whose DNA can provide life-saving benefits to mankind. Mankind. As a as a top secret expedition becomes more and more risky, they soon make a sinister, shocking discovery that's been hidden from the world for decades. The film stars Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, Jonathan Bailey, Rupert Friend, Manuel Garcia Rulfo, Luna Blaise, David Iacono, Audrina Miranda, Philippine Velge, Bekir Sylvain, and Ed Skrein. It is directed by Gareth Edwards, and it's in theaters now. So, Darcy, let's kind of get into some stuff here. I know there are definitely positives with this movie. I know you're not feeling the hottest on it, and it's interesting going into this discussion because usually you're actually at the top of our
I like to like
love
things.
for
So
stuff.
when I don't like something, it is a rare occurrence. I'll say that much.
Yeah, and that it also means that, like, I think it's like, we obviously we've been doing this for quite a while. We can be critical of things, and like I think we all like to like things, but when we are critical of something, we all come from different backgrounds in terms of like film knowledge. Like I know Justin is very much like he studied this stuff,
He went
right?
to school for it, so
He went to school for it, so he has like the understanding of when something doesn't work. He kind of can narrow in as to why, and I think we've been getting a lot better at that, not having gone to school for it. But at the same time, it's like even if we don't know the practical, like, sort of production reason as to why something doesn't feel good or look good or work for us, there's ways that we can get to understanding that, like, that just doesn't work. But let's talk about the look and feel of this movie. We talked about seeing dinosaurs on the big screen. I think for myself, this is going to be a bit of a mixed bag, and I think that's going to kind of be the theme of this entire discussion, is that it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think for the most part, a lot of the look and feel actually did really work for me. This movie shot on celluloid, so shot on film, and I think when it does choose to push for that really beautiful, realistic, sort of, on real sets on location in Thailand or Malta, and the way that Gareth Edwards captures this movie, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. There's some sequences that I'm looking at and I'm like, that looks like it could have been like a book cover for a Jurassic book, right? And so I think the scope and scale of environments and the scope of big giant, beasts and places on screen is something that Gareth Edwards as a director always tends to do a great job with. Talking Godzilla, Star Wars, the shot up of the the walker on the beach in
Mm.
Rogue One, right? Like there's some really phenomenal, sort of ways that he's captured this world, and I really really did enjoy it. But it does make those green screen sequences pop really horribly.
It is a shocking and jarring difference between the two. You
Yes.
go from a beautiful, like you said, beautifully composed shot where they're very much in the scene and in the setting, and then the next thing you know, you can see the cutout that they are standing in front of this like screensaver almost of a jungle forest or something like that. It was very inconsistent, and I think we're talking about look and feel. I feel like the
Yeah.
feel was also very inconsistent because there were times
Hmm.
like in that trailer that felt like it was going to be going like leaning into that horror aspect that that first
Yeah.
movie did, like the really building suspense. The less you see is making it more scary, and there were times where it felt like it was going that way, and then other times where it just became again a bit of a joke, where it
Yeah.
was like you're trying to be scary, and this doesn't make sense at all to me, and it was a bit annoying. And the inconsistency is the name of the game, I think, for this film, was that it just could not stick to one thing, and that hurt it, I think.
Yeah, we I think we talk all the time on this podcast about like the ideas of knowing what you're trying to do with a
Yes.
movie, and then sometimes you're trying to do too much, and that is kind of the big feeling with this when it comes to the story, which we'll get into those details as well. Um, and I also think too, to your point of like the tone of the film. There are a lot of the moments where this movie it went hard with the homages, the nostalgia. And I think narratively and in a fan service way, honestly, that worked for me
Hmm.
up until like the fourth or fifth time and sixth time that they
They
do
really
it.
beat us
And
over the head with that. Like, remember Jurassic
yeah,
Park? It's a thing we did. Remember it?
yeah,
Like, okay,
yeah.
we got it. I gotcha.
Objects in the mirror are a little are closer than they
Closer than
appear
they
or whatever,
appear.
right? Yeah, like all the little details. I mean, listen, I popped off when I saw it was, what was it, Michael Crichton High School or something on the bus in the background in New
Mhm,
York, and of
mhm.
course the little mirror moment, and the I think there's elements of like when we have the fantastic sequence, the fantastic, honestly, maybe one of my favorite Jurassic sequences. Again, because it reminds me of the original films, but still in this world era, the raft sequence, the T-Rex with the family, they're going down, and then you get the little girl Isabella, she's underneath that boat, and the teeth are pressing down on the top of it. You're seeing it. That to me really did work, but it's one of those things where I think with the dinosaurs, they did take a less is more approach, which I appreciate because that is very
Mhm.
much a Gareth Edwards sort of style with Godzilla and with the ways that he does this stuff. I just feel like they might have needed to do that a little bit more with some of those moments, because again, you're watching this movie that you're like, something doesn't feel right, the pacing is off, there's elements of the story that aren't working, there's a little too much going on, it doesn't know what it wants to do, and then it's constantly reminding you of movies that are so much better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's annoying when they're calling back to a movie that everyone wants it to be so much. Like
Yeah.
that's the movie that worked. So they obviously know that people want that, and then they went the wrong direction with it, where they just kept trying to give us what they thought we wanted, and they missed the ball. It's just very unfortunate. Again, that the trailer had me hopeful, and then just as soon as the movie started, really, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I'm in for. I guess it's a movie. Let's go, type thing. So it was
Well, to bring
disappointing.
up to bring up inconsistencies a little bit more here, before I talk about another thing that I absolutely adored about this movie, and I think both of us, I'll get into it, but I enjoyed the size of the dinosaurs because I like the idea that even the titanosaurs or whatever, I know they're supposed to be the biggest dinosaurs or whatever, but like I liked how even that felt that really wonderful blend of wonder and danger because of how big they are. They don't know if they're stepping on you or whatever.
Hmm.
That's cool. The T-Rex, I loved how big he is in this movie. He's big, beefy dude. Even the D-Rex, which we'll talk about later, I enjoyed when he was big, But you pointed out as soon as we left, you're like, why were they
The
constantly
dinosaurs
shifting sizes?
yeah, when the dinosaurs were chasing people, they would change sizes so they could fit into smaller areas. And it's just like, well, if you knew that was the route you were going, where they're going to be in this tunnel, why wasn't the dinosaur smaller to begin with? Like, you made them
Yeah,
big to seem imposing when they're outside, but when you get into an enclosed area, you shrink them down so they can still chase these people. And it's like, but that doesn't make sense. It's one of the most like glaringly obvious things where a dinosaur clearly can't fit down the sewer because it's so
yeah,
massive, and then it goes
yeah.
outside, and the sewer that is the same size or slightly bigger than the one inside, they can all of a sudden squeeze down no problem. Like,
I don't
oh,
know.
it makes no sense. I hate when sizes are inconsistent. Oh,
Well, it's funny too because, like, we watched Twisters, and I bring this up all the time, but you're talking about the augers on the truck.
yeah.
That's what is used to dig into the ground. How it would not work properly from
Yeah,
what you
certain
saw in that
things will
movie.
take me out of a movie when it's whether it's stuff
Right.
like that where I'm like, I work with that, I know how that would happen under certain circumstances, or just
Yeah.
like my mind knows that that's not how spaces work. Like, dinosaurs don't shrink or grow according to the space they're trying to get into, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
Or
whoa.
if they do, and that's one of their mutant
They would
abilities,
highlight
then
it in something
then
in some
highlight
way.
that in
They
some
wouldn't
way.
just be like,
Yeah.
oh, it can get down this sewer. Don't
Give
worry
us a
about it type
line.
thing.
Give us a line like their skeletons are like cats, so they have the ability to, or hamsters or whatever, right? Like they can get
so they
really
can
small.
squish through all that stuff. Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. Anyways, talking about the nostalgia, the fan service, the stuff that made me smile until it didn't. Um, Honestly, though, and this is where I give a big ol' pass because I'm too in love with it, and that's the music. I think the Jurassic fans out there, the most memorable thing about the first two movies, even more in my mind, even more than seeing the dinosaurs on the big screen, it is John Williams' score for me. And I have to say, Alexander Desplat nailed it here. The score, I think, carries the experience of this film, even beyond the look, even beyond the story. Well, especially beyond the story, but I think there's so many wonderful ways that the original theme is weaved in, but it still has its own flavor. It still
Mhm.
has its own elements that it brings in. And I thought Alexander did such a good job of actually making those adjustments where the film needed it.
Yeah, it's funny that we talk about how all the callbacks and references were so we liked them to a certain point, whereas
Mm-hmm.
the music was something I never got tired of hearing. Just because you were saying that the way that he reworked that original theme into so many different situations and scenarios and had it work for all these different things, that's where it worked for me. Again, I'm like, the music is something I'm never going to get tired of. And if you show me a new way to use that music in the world of Jurassic Park, I'm all for that, and it's incredible. So yeah, I'm right there with you. The music was one of the things that I was really, really impressed by after coming out of this film.
Yeah, yeah, and I think honestly, it seems silly to say this, but I think it's like, to me, it's a reason to watch the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
And I will say I still felt wonder in a very specific scene, which I do want to bring up a little bit later. But I want to talk about these characters, right? And I think, again, mixed bag, inconsistency here. Starting with, I would call her the main character. She's the main character in the description here. Zora Bennett, Scarlett Johansson. Um, I'm going to let you talk about her just because I know when we were coming out of it, you weren't really digging her too much. I think I might have a bit of a bias for Scarlett Johansson just because I've loved her in pretty much most of her roles. I I thought she was very charming. I think she nailed it in the badass department. I think she was doing the best with what she could for the way her character was written.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest issue with Scarlett Johansson wasn't so much like she's great in the one-on-one scenes with Jonathan Bailey. I loved the relationship that was developing there, and
Yeah.
I loved again when she was being a badass action hero. It worked. What didn't work for me was those moments when she's working with her mercenary team that she's supposed to have known for all these years, and it just felt so forced. None
Yeah.
of it felt like they were actually genuine friends, and it's weird because she is such a talented actress, and so was everyone else on that cast, like the people that she's working around with, and it was just weird to be like taken out because I'm like, she feels like she's just forcing this jovialness and this friend relationship with these people. It didn't feel genuine. And that was, again, one of the driving factors is her connection to her team. And as they start falling off, I'm not feeling her feel that loss. It didn't feel like it. I
No,
don't
for
know.
sure. It
It was
didn't feel
weird.
like it didn't on it's crazy too, right? Because Duncan has that like buddy who, I will say this though, great death scenes. And
Yes.
when you see
Yes.
those mercenaries, you're like, okay, you're fodder. Okay, you're fodder. And like they're not giving them much to do or much to say. You're gonna die for sure.
Oh yeah.
And so the sequence with what's his name, the Benny Bobby Bibby, it's Ed Skrein's
Ed
character,
Skrein, yeah.
right, when he's getting dragged off and he's holding on and dude, fantastic. When the
and he's just,
when
as he's screaming, as he's like being like before he dives into the water, you just hear him scream to get cut off by the water. It's
so
just like
good.
that was wicked.
You're seeing Isabella. She's looking at this happen, and you're like, that girl is scarred for the rest of her damn life. And then you see like Nina and the way that they have it, like she's trying to climb up that thing and then just gets pulled into the water, and you don't actually see that moment, but they make up for the fact that you don't see it with I can't remember his name, but the French guy who Duncan, right? And he the pterosaur or whatever that thing is called, the Quetzal, is coming up over the
or whatever.
Quetzalcoatlus. That thing is coming up over the side of the hill, and it's got him half out the mouth with the string being pulled, the rope being pulled. Fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. But to your point, I don't think Zora didn't seem to care.
Nope.
And Duncan, he kind of cared. He sat down there for a second on that rock and was like, but they moved by it really quickly.
Again, I didn't feel like they're a team who have worked together very long with the way that they handled each other and dying. Like it was just, like, oh, that happened. Okay, got to keep surviving. Like, I get you're in a tense situation, but I feel like you would be broken by seeing one of your friends die like that. I don't know.
It's crazy. And that the thing is I think the main reason for that, and like we're talking about, is the movie's overstuffed, and we'll talk about that in the story in just a moment, and we will get to that again. But just the idea that like we didn't have time to see these developments with any of these characters, with the mercenaries in any way, and then it's like even by the end when she's like, she's like, we'll give it to all of them, or whatever she says, whatever the line is.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm like, I don't believe you, Zora. Like, I don't.
What does that mean?
I don't believe.
What is everyone going to do with this information? Like,
yeah. Now, I want to get to the part of this conversation that Megan, if you're listening, I get it. I get it. What a charming, delightful man that Jonathan Bailey, Dr. Henry Loomis. I think I really enjoyed his character. I think he was up there with Duncan Kincaid as like one of my favorites of the cast. I think Henry felt like he had elements of the original three, right? Like he feels at times like Ellie Sattler. He's got the knowledge, right? He's got the wonder of Ellie Sattler, the knowledge of Alan Grant, and then the realism, and Megan would probably agree, which is to say the sex appeal of Ian Malcolm. Not that Henry does anything too sexy, but he's just got that. He's good looking. But I will say, like, he doesn't really have too much of an arc to him, but I do appreciate that when we talk about inconsistencies, he is consistent.
Yes, he is.
He is very much the character at the beginning. He's more consistent than his American accent, because sometimes he broke a little bit into the British, just give him a British accent. Who cares if he's from New York or wherever he's from? Like, just give him this British accent.
Because he studied under Alan Grant. A British person can't study under Alan Grant. That doesn't make any sense.
Of course not. Of course. Oh my gosh. No, like... but I just think like I did enjoy how much he did commit, and there are some great moments with his character for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, where he was capturing the essence of those first movie characters. I mean, there was a time when he first comes out almost on the boat and he's wearing the blue shirt with the glasses. It's like, oh, I'm seeing Alan Grant right now. This is like, he loves his teacher because he dresses just like him.
Yeah, but then they're in the field and he's like just flabbergasted.
The way when he's interacting with the dinosaurs for the first time, and you're getting that
that's Ellie,
right, just coming right through.
Or even who was the woman in the second one, in Jurassic, Sarah Harding is what it says on IMDb. I got a bit of that of her character as well with him in some instances, especially in the instances of like caring for the dinosaur. Like that moment did hit when he's like, are you saying it's illegal? He's saying like, no, it's a sin. And I was like,
you can tell he cares about the life that they created,
bro.
And he's like, just because we made them doesn't mean we can treat them like they're nothing. And I think that was really cool. And like you said, it was consistent. He was a driving point throughout the film, being like, we should do the right thing. Like, I know we shouldn't be here. I know we're doing this, but we should try and do the right thing the entire time. And I really appreciate that. how that's again how his story played out towards the end, where it's just we don't see what the end goal was. I feel like that's just a cop out. I don't know why you would be like, oh, we'll give it to everyone and then end there. It just seems really weird. He
I
was a
don't know,
great.
and I also don't know how I feel about that fall. You know, like I understand they're trying to make us like, oh no, no, not Dr. Henry's falling, but he fell so high up through trees, and I get it, he lands in some water, but you're telling me the man is completely okay, and they don't even like. They're like, hey, you good? Like, what?
I mean, that is believable to an extent. People have fallen out of planes
guess.
without parachutes and survived. So, like, it's those trees are big enough. You got to think those fronds are really slowing them down because they're massive. I don't know. That wasn't
Big
something
frond.
that took me out of it. Action movies, you kind of.
Sure, you forget.
I put up with the fact that
okay.
everyone's a superhuman in an action movie. They can take a lot more hits than a normal person can. But
yeah,
overall I did enjoy his presence in the film. He was something that I was looking forward to see more on the screen whenever we had more time with him.
Yeah, I think Mahershala Ali as Duncan Kincaid, for me, had the most emotional depth of any of them.
100%.
When we talk about range, when we talk about actually having a semblance of an arc, right? Where I think it's forgivable in Henry's case. I think it's a little disappointing in Zora Bennett's case, but like they have that conversation, him and Zora, where it's Duncan and Zora, where they're having this sort of exposition dump. It's to be fair to its credit, I think it's done in the right way, where they're giving you information without necessarily having to say it all. You're just getting the understanding that, you know, Duncan's no longer with his wife because they lost his son, right? Zora had, I guess, a mission partner or I couldn't quite tell, but
partner,
someone
quote unquote, yeah.
She lost someone, but I think the fact that they gave us that explanation, you see how mad Duncan gets at Ruben when he's like, you brought your daughters out here, like, are you freaking insane? Like, are you stupid? Like, what the heck? And like, I like that. Like, I thought that was earned, and I enjoyed that element to it. To all the way at the end when he decides, you know, they're running from the D-Rex and Isabella's there, and he chooses to make that sacrifice. He's in that moment, he's doing the one thing that he didn't get a chance to do for his own son, right? He's saying, I am going to protect you in this moment. And I'm kind of happy that he was okay in the end, but I also kind of wish he had died. How do you feel about that?
I agree with you that he is one of my favorite characters from the movie. He's probably the top of my list because of his consistency. Again, he nailed his character and was consistent throughout. He showed some emotion, like you said, when he lost some of his friends on this mercenary team or whatever. He was
the only one.
More,
he sat
more
down
than
for a
Zora
second.
or anyone else. Like even the French guy who seemed really close to the I can't remember, the girl who died on the beach. He saw her die, and then he was done with a glance back and was moving on to the next thing. And it was like, mercenaries are cold-hearted. I get that. I feel like they should be a bit more humanized, though, if I'm supposed to be rooting for this team. It was weird. I do like the fact that he survived, though, because his character arc was the most engaging to me. And I wanted to see him win, and sacrificing himself to save Isabella would have been a great way to go out. But to know that he now has a chance to go on and do more in this potential franchise, I'm excited for that. If there is another movie, I don't know. We'll see.
Apparently, this is going to be a trilogy, right? Like, apparently, the idea with this is that it's a new trilogy. Chris Pratt stuff is gone, right? That's done. We're done with that for now, or maybe eventually it's like a mashup of these characters with that. But I'm okay. I'm kind of okay with that. I'm okay to move on from that side. Like, I enjoyed World well enough. I did not enjoy any of the other ones, and as I said, I never watched Dominion. But Rupert Friend, Martin Krebs, he's a good bad guy, but like he kind of was just like, it was like the lawyer in the first one and Nedry combined.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what I was feeling, and it's like he is capable of so much more. We've seen Rupert Friend do some amazing stuff, and seeing him play this one note cheesy bad guy, it's just like, okay, I guess it's happening. I was again hoping for a lot more, but as soon as he pops on the screen and says something, you're like, oh, he's the bad guy, cool. I guess this is that we're gonna see him die in some dumb way. So here we go.
He's gonna drive the car really fast, and then you're gonna get eaten up. And the Delgado family. Darcy, what were your thoughts on the Delgado family?
I honestly liked their story a lot more than the mercenary side of things. I feel like the family getting lost in this dinosaur infested island was a really cool idea. I mean, we've seen it before, but this
Yeah.
way felt new and fresh. And again, unfortunately, because the movie was so overstuffed, I felt like some of these characters didn't get the arc they deserved. Specifically, like his daughter's boyfriend. I can't remember his name.
Xavier.
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 I
Yeah.
loved, like, he was such a little lazy shit, and we see that he didn't want to help at all on the boat at the beginning of the movie, and then we see him become like he jumps in after his girlfriend because he cares that much for her, and then he starts keeping watch on the island. We see him kind of learn to become a better man, and like, this is really cool. But then
Yeah.
he goes back to, they kind of get the backseat again once they meet up with the rest of the mercenary team. It's just, I don't know.
Understand.
And then the whole Isabella with the whole feeding a dinosaur licorice and taming it.
Can we talk about Dolores? Because like,
Dolores,
it's just a toy.
Yeah,
Dolores is just a toy. It's a baby Grogu.
Yeah,
that's
that's the only reason. And I don't know why someone who's be so afraid of dinosaurs would all of a sudden be like, yeah, this small cute one, I'm okay with it. No, if you're like deathly afraid of dinosaurs, any dinosaur should terrify you, and you shouldn't be close to one.
Yeah, maybe she connected with it because it's little and cute and whatever.
Then how did it keep following them across the island? Like, and also, how did they get across the island so fast? That's another thing.
And there were so many moments where it's like, was Dolores in that backpack underwater that entire time? Like, where did she come from?
I don't know. That's the thing. Is half the time she just pop up and would be there. And it's like, what the fuck? Is it the same dinosaur? So much small. I don't know. Yeah, there was
so much that was cut. There was so much that. And let's talk about the story of this movie, because I think to everything we're talking about, it's okay. I'm going to start with positives just before we get into all the negative side of things. I will say this, to me, even more than the first Jurassic World, and this is maybe where I'm maybe a little bit more on the positive side, is this did feel like the closest thing to The Force Awakens in terms of trying to recapture any semblance of that original. I think from a park standpoint, I did love some of the moments with World. I love, I like the park building games. Like, there's a new one coming up, and I'm like, please be on Switch 2. Give me mouse mode. I want to play that game. And so I like the world stuff. I like the marketing. I like the branding of Jurassic. Like, I like that stuff in Gen. I love all those elements. And so I think there were some elements that yes, we talk about the nostalgia, we talk about the homages and stuff like that. There were some things where I was willing to give a bit more pass in terms of believability when it comes to feeling like a 90s film. Like, the fact that it's shot on film, awesome. I get that. The 90s element of the story where it's like, the what was it, a Snickers bar wrapper? No, but it's like, honestly,
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
If this was a movie from the 90s, if it was a juice box from a popsicle wrapper,
I don't care if it's 90s or not. No security system should shut down if it's trying to keep dinosaurs, and your response is to just shut the entire system down. Like, everything, make it stop working. How is that a safety feature? That's just dumb. They're asking for dinosaurs to break out, and how come it didn't happen before? If that's all it took was this one little wrapper magically floating across the ground because they're inside, and we all know drafts inside are ridiculous on dinosaur islands. They can move a Snickers wrapper 20 feet across the room into a vent or whatever. It's like, again, that's the beginning of the movie, and that's where I knew, I'm like, oh, we're in for a dumb ride. They couldn't come up with some way of the dinosaur. Something the dinosaur did, making it get out, not just a dumbass human who shouldn't have the job because I think
the other thing too, sorry, but the other thing too, you talked about it like feeling like a horror movie. I will say that opening did feel very horror.
Yes.
The red logo, I was like, I actually popped off in that moment. I was sitting next to it, I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, I think they did a good job with
that.
Yes,
I did enjoy that, but again, the whole premise for the shutdown was the dumbest thing ever, and that's how this movie starts. So that's how I knew I was on board for just some shoddy writing at times.
We've got a family. We've got the intention to steal some dino DNA. Like, I think when it comes to intention, I appreciate that it feels like they wanted to. There was a want to go beyond just making more money. This movie was like produced in a very short period of time, and it was rushed by Universal. Unfortunately. So you've got these script writers and the original, like David Kopp, the guy that wrote the original screenplay, kind of coming in here, and I feel like there was maybe just that element of like too many hands in the pot. There was obviously stuff that was rushed. There was elements that were like, well, we got to have a baby dinosaur. How are we going to sell toys and all that stuff? I want to just stick with the positive for 1 second before we jump even further
Sorry,
down.
you mentioned the stupid rapper. I had to go negative.
Oh no, it's okay. Listen, it's all right. Listen, I liked it. You did it. I get it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
but I think there are two reasons that I think that this movie, there were two scenes that this worked really well, and I felt personally like they were the only parts of the movie that actually did successfully capture more than any of the Jurassic World movies have so far what made the original two special. And I think besides John Williams of it all, besides the Steven Spielberg of it all, I think what Spielberg and David Kopp were able to bring over from Michael Crichton's book were two elements that it was just so blended so masterfully on screen, and that's wonder and horror.
Mm-hmm.
And the scenes that I want to bring up, wonder, number one, is the Titanosaur scene, the valley scene.
Yep.
Hearing the score, seeing Henry so happy in that moment, knowing that Jonathan Bailey is literally playing the clarinet in the score over top of the moment where he's almost in tears because he's so happy. I think it did so much to back up that emotion. And yes, there are parts of that come from my love of the original films that I'm sort of feeling that nostalgia. But I want to bring up Megan, who she said she welled up in that sequence. And part of it might have been because of Jonathan Bailey, but another part of it has to do with the fact that I think that this part in the film, it captured that wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And for her, she's never seen a Jurassic movie. So for her to feel that and know that this isn't normally her kind of movie, that to me, I think it did the thing. I think it captured the wonder of dinosaurs on screen in that moment. I don't know.
Yeah. Totally agree with you there. That was it did feel very much like the first time Alan Grant sees him looking over the valley with the swelling music and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
it felt like a very Jurassic Park moment. So I will give you that much.
And then horror. The D-Rex opening, I think, was horror, but I also think the T-Rex, the main one, was the T-Rex in the raft.
That T-Rex segment was one of my favorite moments from the whole thing because it was such a new way of doing a T-Rex chase that we've seen so many times over the Jurassic movies. This one felt, while being very much an homage, like you said, with the boat, it felt new and fresh, which was really cool. And even the parts where the T-Rex is going after the dad and he's swimming away and dodging out of it. It's like there's so many moments where like you're on the edge of your seat, like, oh, this isn't going to end well. Someone's getting snapped up by a T-Rex here. And just the way that they started off that thing with the boat inflating and then falling over and the T-Rex is gone, like that was an incredible moment. I do love that whole segment. Again, I love the family story for the most part. So
wonder, cool. Horror. All right, Darcy. I hung the goat is hung up. It's hung up right now. It's raining. Have at it. What really didn't work? And I mean, we've obviously already mentioned a few things, but
I mean, my big thing is the second Jurassic Park movie was them going to a lost lab and retrieving DNA from there. So it was very much the same story here. Why do we need more mutated dinosaurs? This doesn't make sense to me. Why would you put two heads on a dinosaur? How are sticking any combination of dinosaur stuff together would what gives you 6 arms? That's not how gene splicing works. You don't like nothing on Earth has 6 legs or limbs unless you're a bug, but they're not using bug DNA. They're using other animals and mammals.
Bugs were in Dominion though, right? Weren't there big bugs in Dominion?
Yeah, there were because that makes sense. They're trying to bring back the Cretaceous period. They're like, we need more megafauna to go with these dinosaurs. Which is why I thought it would have been cool if this lab, because they're talking about how dinosaurs can only live in the one equator now. What would have been cool is if we're seeing this lab was studying evolution of dinosaurs to see if they could make dinosaurs that live outside of oxygen-rich environments. And that becomes the big threat, is that the dinosaurs are now expanding their territory and becoming the true rulers of the kingdom again. Like that, to me, would have been a cooler storyline as opposed to more mutants. Like, I wasn't a fan of the Indominus Rex, the weird raptor clicking thing that we got in the previous Jurassic Worlds. And now we're getting a bottlenose dolphin balloon head with 6 tiny little T-Rex arms that don't do anything between 2 giant brachiosaur arms. Like, it was the most infuriating dinosaur to watch because it looked so dumb and so unrealistic. Like, no dinosaur beluga would develop like that. That was one of my biggest things. I hate the mutants in the original Jurassic World, and the fact that we got more mutants and they look dumber.
Yeah.
You've taken me right out of it. Sorry. Like,
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I know there was some leaks a little while ago that kind of came to light. I think even before Dominion came out, that were showing off like mutant dinosaurs, and it was specifically um, mutant like human hybrid
yes.
dinosaurs. And I'm like, don't take us there, please. Don't
No,
let this
that's
be the like foreshadowing for whatever that was, because
yeah.
nobody wants it. I
No
don't
one
want
wants
it.
it. We
No.
just want dinosaurs. Don't change dinosaurs. They're already cool enough as they is. Don't try and
Yeah.
make a new one. Just give us a T-Rex again, because the
Yeah.
T-Rex is always going to be scary. Like,
What hurts this movie the most from a story standpoint for me, and it's what we've been talking about. It has a lot to do with the pacing. You know, there's that sequence with the, I think it's a human, and there's two T-Rexes in the second one, I think, and they're like, they bite that person in half. You know, they're
yes.
fighting over it. You
Yep.
know what I'm talking about,
Yep.
right? And then they bite it and they rip it in half, rip them in half, and then each one. That's the script to this movie. And the two T-Rexes in that moment are whoever was behind writing it, and probably people from Universal and producers and different people that had their hands in the pot, because listen to this. A family gets stranded on an abandoned InGen island and needs to escape using any scrappy means they possibly can. Great movie.
Yeah.
A group of mercenaries travel to an abandoned InGen island to recover dino DNA to create cures for incurable diseases for humans, whether that be for profit or mankind. Great movie. Right?
They didn't need to be two movies together.
Why?
They did not.
Why? Why?
You could have had the family. If you wanted to bring action heroes into a family story, the family gets to the island, gets lost, triggers a signal that InGen security is like, oh god, something's happened here. We got to go back and figure out what's going on. That gets you your team in to save the
maybe
people.
Even
like,
just Duncan. Just get Duncan in there. You can still have an emotional arc for him. He's upset with the dad. They learn to work together. It
was two movies slammed together, and it didn't know what it was trying to be, because at times it felt like a fun family adventure flick, and other times it felt like that hardcore like horror, like dinosaurs are out to kill all of us, and no one is safe on this island. And it's just like, it kept flopping between the two so much that I couldn't, like, just when I was getting into one, it was like, okay, no, we're going this other direction again. It's like, dang it, just stick to one thing and do it well. That's all I'm asking for.
It's so funny because, like, as you're describing this, I'm literally thinking of the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. Justin, I've yet to actually watch it all the way through. Justin has a famous, well, it's famous within our circles, but he has a Justin Lawrence cut of one of those movies or two of those movies where he like took out all the unnecessary stuff. I bet you Justin could probably edit two movies out of this one movie, and they'd be both better than this.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue would be that beginning when the teams are together again. Like,
yes,
the Mercs find the family. That's the only issue section that he'd have a hard time.
You almost start it the moment that they get wrecked, and you just don't explain why they're on a boat with
families just wrecked on an island of dinosaurs. Right? Don't know what's going on. And I think it would have been cool too if they'd gone that route with the family, where the family doesn't know what's going on. They got washed ashore in a storm, blown off course. They don't know what island they're on, and these dinosaurs start.
And you're slowly learning more about InGen, and
we're like, oh, this is a Jurassic Park movie. Of course, they're going to be on the Jurassic Island. Like, that would be cool if it was more like hidden. The fact that we knew from the get go that we were going to an island, we're seeing dinosaurs. These two things. It's like, I don't know. It felt like it was trying to be too much like the original to try and do its own thing, which it suffered for.
It was a mutation, right?
Yeah.
It was a mutation in itself of the franchise. And it's tricky when we talk about scoring this film, because not like the music's great, but when we're talking about how many out of 5 vials of dino DNA, I'm going to give you really quickly, and she hasn't been here for this conversation, so it's not like, but Megan said for a film about dinosaurs and science, she actually thought it had a lot of heart, humanity. She says, I would have loved to have gotten deeper into the characters and stories, but maybe that's for another time, right? This does feel like it's going to be part of a film series. She says, or another film. She says, as someone who's never seen a Jurassic movie, I'm way more inclined to look back and watch the classics that brought everyone to this film, especially, and this is all caps, for that score. So she's on board with our thoughts on the score.
Again, John Williams can do no wrong.
Yeah. She says, I'll be honest, I went for Jonathan Bailey, but I went for the Jonathan Bailey, but I left with a love for the orchestral score, the cinematic scenery, and a hopeful story about caring for one another. And I think when she talks about, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, Megan, I think when she's talking about caring for one another, she is probably focusing on Henry Loomis's, thoughts of, and Duncan Kincaid's, longing to protect the family and what have you. She gave this 5 out of 5 vials of dino DNA. So she had a really fun time with it. Darcy, what are your overall fine? And obviously it's not going to be as high.
I'm following up a 5 out of 5. Okay. Well, again, the score is incredible. A lot of the time, the look and feel was really good when it was sticking to one thing.
Practical.
The inconsistency is where it really starts losing me, and it's across the board. It's inconsistent. The performances from the cast are mixed at best. Again, some of them feel very one note, not very fleshed out. Others do have a great arc, but we don't get to see that arc fully realized, which is disappointing. Again, the story being what feels like two movies slammed together, and we just quickly explained how those movies could have been a 1-2 of a trilogy that would have worked really cool together to bring back the certain heroes. If you want to see them be the main hero of a franchise, they don't need to be the main character of the movie the entire time. I don't know. But I unfortunately will be giving this one 3 out of 5 vials of dinosaur goo, because I wanted the original and I got something that was trying too hard to be the original.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. I think, to me, it did just enough right to keep me smiling and enjoying myself. Yeah, there was stuff that took me out. Yeah, there was stuff that didn't look great in the green screen stuff and what have you. And there were elements where I was just like, oh, I wish we could stay with these people, or I wish I could learn more about these people, or I wish I actually believed Xavier in the end, and I wish I actually believed Zora in the end. I think I will say that I don't think this is the worst place you could start. Like Megan never seeing a Jurassic movie, I don't think this is the worst one to have started with. So I'm happy she didn't start with Dominion. From what I've heard, again, I haven't seen it, but I don't know if I ever will. But I'm happy she didn't start with the second one either. There's so many. Just I'm so excited to watch the originals with her. But I think if you enjoy this movie, you're gonna love the first two Jurassic movies. I think for everyone hoping that this was going to be the rebirth of the franchise, which is that's another thing too. Jurassic World Rebirth. How is it what are you talking about?
It's not Rebirth. It's been there the whole time. That's not right, Rebirth.
What's the? I don't understand to me, the title was literally like just that's all marketing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I think it doesn't do quite enough for me to say like we're back, but it also doesn't do enough for me to say like that I didn't enjoy I think, again, I talked about those sequences, right? The look and scope of the film, the music, the attempt to go back to what made the original films great and never quite fully capturing it outside of two scenes. It's a tall order, right? You don't have Spielberg. And I think, with this series, I'm more inclined from what I saw in this movie to see a sequel to this movie. To see a sequel to that movie, if you at least try to do this stuff, don't do Human Mutants. But I think if they really want to do a rebirth, and I know it's a tall order because he says he doesn't want to do more, because even Spielberg himself, the man said he was like, I didn't want to do a sequel to Jurassic Park. I didn't want to, because he's like, what more do you do? The concept has been done in that first film. How do you go further? He didn't know how to go further with it. So, I think bringing David Koepp back kept back and having him try to figure this out, it's just such a tall order. But if they did get Steven Spielberg back, I think they could do it. I think he's the missing link, if you will, in this.
I mean, if he's not even confident it needs to happen, then it doesn't need to happen. Like, again,
it's true. You're not wrong.
That's the
Listen,
thing.
it's going to happen, Darcy. You can't stop it. Okay.
Hollywood loves money, so it's definitely happening again.
They're really struggling out there, those Universal folks. So, yeah, I think I think bringing Spielberg back would be the only way you could truly have this franchise reborn. I don't think it's going to happen, but again, if the next one is slightly better than this one, then I think that'll be great. I'm giving Jurassic World Rebirth a solid 3 out of 5 vials of. You know what? I'm going to give it a 3.5. I'm giving it a 3.5.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're agreeing with me. If you're
I'm agreeing with you. I'm
you
agreeing.
liked it a bit more than I did.
I know. I thought you were going to go 2. I don't know.
There was enough that I enjoyed. It's just
this just hit you at the middle. It didn't get you any further.
Very mid. Very much mid.
Super mid, as the TikTok kids say. Okay, that is it for our spoiler-filled discussion for Jurassic World Rebirth. We hope you enjoyed it. You know, I know it's never is fun to talk about things that you don't like in a movie, but sometimes it has to be done. And hopefully you found some, you know, just go watch the first 2 again, and that's the best seriously. Jurassic. Seriously. Dude, I want to read the book. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Dude, I watched some guy. He was talking about this movie, and who was it? It was heavy spoilers. And he's holding. There's this book by Folio Society. Have you heard of Folio Society? You're about to get ad targeted because you're listening to this right now, and you too, Darcy. Folio Society makes these like incredible. It's like an ad read. Yeah. This podcast is brought to you by Folio Society. No, dude, they make these beautiful, gorgeous books, and I'm not one for physical books. I'm an iPad reader guy. Holy crap, they're expensive. They look so nice. I'm going to send you a link later. But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you want to reach out to us and let us know your thoughts on this film or the series that we cover, I'm going to use this raptor calling horn that Dr. Alan Grant gave me to call Dinosaur Darcy over so he can roar at you to tell you how you can reach us. That's the horn.
I don't know. That just made me think of that old Canadian PSA where the kid's like, "My thing's sound effects," and he does the T-Rex roar.
Yeah, so good, classic. Only the Canadians understand that.
They can reach out to us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or if they're a bit more modern and want to do things the cool way, they can reach out to us on Instagram at wearegeekcentric, also on TikTok at wearegeekcentric, and over on Twitter or X at geekcentricyt.
Yeah, if regular dinosaurs aren't cool enough for you,
you like mutated dinosaurs with 6 arms and tiny.
So cool.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Keep in mind, we have a ton of other great episodes covering the latest in movies and TV shows, including our recent spoiler-filled discussion. You like spoiler-filled discussions? Darcy and I had a great spoiler-filled discussion for Ironheart, which, you know, Darcy and I got really into that big reveal is all I'm going to say at the end. It was... yeah, it's good. The finale for that show is good. And so when you listen to that discussion, you know, I'm sounding more like a 4 out of 5 than I think. What did I give that one? Like a 3 or I don't know. I think I gave it a 3 or 3.5.
I can't remember what I gave it either. So,
anyways, you can also listen to our spoiler-free review to learn what we gave Marvel Television's Ironheart. You can also learn our. You can learn so many things. You can hear our spoiler-free review for Pixar Studios' Elio, How to Train Your Dragon, Predator, Killer of Killers, and From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. We've also got some great interviews to check out, like our most recent interviews with head writer of Ironheart, Shanaka Hodge, and executive producer Ryan Coogler, where we discussed the expansion of Riri Williams as a character and her debut after her debut in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and how this story is her own story. It's not an origin story. It's not a continuation. It's Riri's story. We also have a spoiler-filled interview coming soon. By the time you're listening to this, it might already even be out. I don't know how time works. With the composer for Marvel Television's Ironheart, Dara Taylor, where with her, I discuss that big reveal at the end and what it was like composing music for a monumentous moment in the MCU. Plus, you got to check out our socials because we got coverage for Prime Video's Heads of State. Justin hit the red carpet in New York to chat with the film's director, Ilya Naishuller. That one-on-one interview is out now on YouTube. He also talked to him on the red carpet, but he also got to ask a few questions with the one, the only WWE legend, John Cena. That's right. John Cena is holding a Geekcentric microphone, and my heart dropped into my pants, and that was crazy. He is such a lovely guy. All the clips you've seen of him being so lovely, they're true. Justin asks about how his career in the WWE has influenced his career in Hollywood. And he gives a really, really heartwarming answer to that. So check those out. The Hot Geek Summer is only getting hotter. We've got more coverage of all things geeky coming up, including our interviews with the cast of the Apple TV original series Foundation, as well as coverage of Superman and Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four: First Steps, all coming soon. Be sure to subscribe either here on your podcast service of choice or over on YouTube, where you can watch all our interviews and our smiling faces at youtube.com/geekcentric. Dino DNA Darcy. Thank you so much for joining me for this roaring review. And as we say, love ya.
Laters.